So the dilemma right now is, do I eat a rib or do I take a bite out of the slab? I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go for the slab. Here we go. Today, I'm going to challenge myself to do something different and perhaps even a little controversial to some of you out there. Under normal circumstances, we'd fire up the grill, maybe even crank on the smoker, and just cook something low and slow. But not today. I've got a beautiful rack of St. Louis style ribs, and I want to see if we could produce a respectable product in an air fryer. All right, I know. Blasphemy. Truth is, I've never done it before. Heard a lot of really good things about the air fryer we're using in today's video, and when given the opportunity to test it out for myself, I thought, you know what? Let's do some ribs in it. And so today we're going to be testing out the Typhur Dome 2 air fryer to see if we could produce St. Louis style ribs that are juicy, flavorful, and fall off the bone tender. Let's do it.
Let's do the dry rub first. We got some brown sugar coming in. Light or dark, it's up to you. I didn't have either, so we're going to add some molasses to that. And how much of these ingredients you add, it's up to you. You know, measure with your heart. We're going to be using the Micah McGee seasoning method. In goes the salt, and that looks about right. There will be a recipe in the description box below in case you want to see what this is all about. I do like a little bit of heat with these ribs, so we're going to add a touch of cayenne pepper, oregano, a little garlic powder, onion powder, and we cannot forget about that umami blast savor yeast. So we're going to be adding some savor yeast to this dry rub. A little pepper, a little more pepper, chili powder, and this right here is your secret weapon. This is a cinnamon. We're going to throw a little bit of that in there. Let's bring a little nutty smoky to the mix with cumin. What are we doing here? Come on. More cumin. There we go. All right. Finally, smoked paprika. That's going to seal the deal for us. And we're done. That's the dry rub. Let's go ahead and give it a whisk till everything is nicely incorporated. We're going to set that to the side and work on our marinade. But we're going for barbecue flavor. So apple juice, apple cider vinegar. We got Worcestershire sauce and soy sauce. Let's add a little liquid smoke and come back with some ketchup. This is such a highly customizable recipe. In the description box below, I will break down each one of those ingredients and the quantities that I'm using. Next up, the dry spices. We got a little salt, black pepper, red pepper flakes, onion powder, garlic powder, chili powder, cinnamon, of course, savor ye. Can't forget about that. That's such an important ingredient. All right, let's take this, blend it all together. Don't forget to taste it. Make any adjustments you feel necessary. I feel like this could be a little bit spicier, so we're going to add some hot sauce. You can add whatever hot sauce you want. Tabasco, Frank's Red Hot. It really, whatever's in your pantry. All right, one more quick blend, and after a taste, this is perfect. It's savory, it's a little spicy, it's tangy, and it's going to be a great marinade for our pork ribs. We're going to be using what is quite possibly the coolest marinade injector system that I own. That's the Chops Power Injector System. The only problem that I have with this system is that I never have enough meat. I get carried away. It's such a cool product. You just want to inject everything. Anyway, in goes the marinade. We're going to lock it down, pump it up. And as far as the tips that I'm using, it comes with different syringes, different gauges and sizes and whatnot. I'm going to be using the closed syringe system that gives me a hole on the front and back, but the tip of it is closed off. But like I said, they have different sizes, and these are surgical grade syringes, so be careful because they are super sharp. Okay, there's our slab. We're going to go ahead and remove the membrane. And the way I like to do it, obviously you can do it whatever way you like. I like to just start in the middle, right? Open it up a little bit, move that spoon up just to loosen it, and then at that point I've got a grab point. So you can start in the corner, you can grab a paper towel. It doesn't matter. Whatever works best for you. This works best for me. I tend to get the cleanest removal of that membrane when I do it this way. And now that our membrane is removed in one fell swoop, we can proceed with the marinade. Now that this has been properly injected, we're going to generously coat the top and bottom of our ribs with our dry rub. Don't forget the sides. And once you do this, you are finished with step one. We're going to let this dry brine for basically overnight. You don't have to let it dry brine overnight. If you want, you can let this just hang out in your fridge 3 or 4 hours. I do think an overnight brine is going to be better for the meat, and it's getting late. I don't want to start this cook and then it finish in the middle of the night. So this is the next day. We let this dry brine for about 12 hours. We're going to give it a cut and just lightly sprinkle a little extra dry rub right there on top. One thing that is extremely unique with the air fryer we're using today is that it communicates with the wireless probes from the same company. So we're going to turn that on and use the wireless probes to monitor the temperature while we're cooking. So unlike most air fryers that do time settings, this actually does a time or temperature setting based off of the probes that you have in there. So very excited to see how that's going to turn out. I'm also interested to see whether or not we could fit both of these slabs inside that air fryer. Okay, we got our probes locked and loaded. We're measuring 36 degrees Fahrenheit. At this point, we need to get these into the basket for the Dome 2. And this is what that basket looks like. And right off the bat, I can tell you, this is a much bigger sized basket than most air fryers. It's not deep, it's wide and long. So you should be able to fit more food in here than you can in just about any other air fryer. So let's go ahead and put that to the test. There's half rack, St. Louis style right there. And there's the other half. Okay, this is going to shrink a little bit as it cooks, which is going to give it a little more room. But we're able to fit an entire rack of ribs in there, which is kind of cool. To that tray, we're going to add some apple juice and water. It's about a 50-50 blend. And I'm just going to pour as much as it can hold so it doesn't come above that grating. So, okay, it looks like I'm right about there. This is a cup of liquid. So I can pour about a cup of liquid in there. While this cooks, that liquid's going to provide a lot of humidity and flavor as it evaporates. So I think that's going to be absolutely beautiful. Let's get this into the air fryer. Lock and load. Loving the size of this thing. This air fryer is huge. Turn it on, and the screen display gives you tons of options. You can adjust the temperature, from the display itself. Move it up or down. Very easy to control. I feel like it's pretty intuitive. You got pizza, bacon, steak, wings, a lot of different styles of cooking: bake, grill, toast, air fry. I am going to open up the app and then program everything through the app. There are actually more features to the air fryer on the app itself. So let's click air fryer. We're going to adjust the temperature down to, let's go 250. I think that's going to give us the results that we are shooting for. Once we set the temperature, we now need to determine whether we want to use the timer or the probes. Because we have Typhur probes in there, we are going to change that option from timer to probes so that the probes can monitor the temperature. We're going to connect the probe and sync that up. We're going to set the probe to 205, so that's going to be our target temperature for this cook, and hit start. We need to hit OK and then manually start the unit. You can't start the unit from the app. So we need to physically press the start button. The air fryer is officially on, and from this screen on the app, you can monitor the progress. We need to set up our other probe, though. We've only technically synced one probe. And so we're going to go back to the devices section of our Typhur app, select the other probe, and set it up. So let's click pork. We're going to click rib. There it is. And we're going to adjust this to 205. And there it is. All right, so now both probes are set up to 205. And what we're going to do is check back on this cook in about an hour and see what the temperature's at before we move on to phase 2. Our ribs have been cooking for about an hour. We're at 166 Fahrenheit. It's time to move on to phase 2. A little honey, some butter, and we're going to come back with some brown sugar. At this point, we're going to remove our ribs from the air fryer. Take a quick peek at how they look. All right. That looks awesome. We're going to put these face down onto that aluminum foil and give them a tight wrap. Okay. These smell amazing, by the way, right now. They smell like delicious barbecue ribs. And I am going to double wrap these just to lock everything in. So one more time. Excellent. We've got our rib parcel ready to go. We're going to do the exact same thing with the other rack. And we're going to place that all back into the air fryer and let it continue cooking. This is where our temperature probes come in handy, because at this point, the Typhur air fryer is monitoring the temperature, and it's going to let me know when we've hit our target. And remember, our target for these ribs, 205 degrees Fahrenheit. I think it's going to be absolutely perfect. And while these are cooking, an early winter storm decided to roll in. Let me show you what else we've cooked in this unit. We've got smashed cheeseburgers, ultra crispy chicken wings. Look at that. Amazing. Let's not forget about homemade buttermilk biscuits. Just tossed them in there a few minutes later. Beautiful biscuits. How about steamed shumai in the air fryer? Added about a cup of water to the bottom of that. And that grating kept the food elevated. Close it down a few minutes later. Boom. There we go. I didn't have tamales, but if I'd had tamales, I'd have steamed some tamales too. Finger food is great. We did onion rings. You know, you got jalapeno poppers, you got mozzarella sticks, personal size pizza. I could have doubled the size of this pizza, but this was a pizza for one today. And then, of course, you've got your steak. We did a very quick 5-minute New York strip breakfast steak for my wife. She likes hers medium. And using the probe allowed us to get to that perfect medium temperature. I would have preferred it a little pinker, but this was not for me. Quick little bite before we hand it over. Yum. We've hit our target, 205 degrees Fahrenheit. Got a notification on the phone. And we're now moving on to phase 3 of this cook. So what we're going to do is we're going to unwrap that. We no longer need our temperature probes because we've already hit our target. So we're going to place those racks back into the air fryer, meat side up. And at this point, you can coat it with your favorite barbecue sauce. I'm using a barbecue sauce from PS Seasonings called Cherry Bomb. It has a beautiful sweetness and a nice spice level. I think it's going to pair perfectly with our seasoning profile. And once you give them a nice coat, go ahead and put them back into the air fryer. Turn the air fryer back on, and we're going to set this for 30 minutes. So we're still at 250 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to let it finish at 30 minutes, and that's going to help caramelize that barbecue sauce, give us an absolutely beautiful topping. Once this is done cooking, we'll check back on it and see how it goes.
Had to put on some gloves because it's about to get messy. This is the half a rack that we've already deboned. Check that out. Oh, that's so beautiful. It smells amazing. That barbecue sauce, cherry bomb. Nice flavor, a little bit of spicy. Just finished beautifully on this half rack right here. And this is ultra tender, but it's not so tender that it's falling apart in my hands, which is the way I like it. And I get it. Everybody likes their ribs different. Some people like them to where there's a little meat on the bone. You got to kind of gnaw at it a little bit. Other people like it to where it's just falling apart. If you cook your ribs a little bit hotter, so let's say you start at 325, follow the exact same method, and you end up at an internal of 205 like we did in today's video, finish it up with your sauce, whatever. Your ribs are going to be super tender, super juicy, but you're not going to be able to pull the bone out. It'll be stuck to the bone a little bit. So if you like a little bit more chew on your rib meat, that might be the way to go. It also cooks a little bit faster. If you want it even more tender, cook it a little bit lower, 225, and let it hang out in there. Same exact process. It's going to take a little bit longer, but your pork meat is going to have a lot more of that fat rendered, and it's going to make this impossible to hold. It'll just be falling all over the place. This right here, I'd feel like I could just cut it in half and put it between two buns. I mean, it just looks amazing. All right, I'm just going to dive right on in and grab this piece that we've already remove the bone out of just one more time. Take a closer little peek there. Just super juicy. Oh, wow. Perfect. Here we go. I wasn't sure what to expect, honestly. It doesn't have that pit flavor, and it doesn't have that in the smoker flavor. It's got its own thing going on, and it's kind of right up there. It's absolutely delicious. A large part of the flavor is coming from our marinade. It's coming from our rub. You know, we did a dry brine overnight. Super juicy inside. We did the apple juice and Worcestershire and soy sauce. Got a bit of a chew on the bark. Wow. A little smoky. Nothing like as if it were smoked, but you got that liquid smoke in there that's just adding that very subtle smoke flavor. Little spicy, little sweet. It's absolutely delicious. It's not a quick dinner. It took about 3.5 hours. If you don't cook an entire rack, so let's say you only do 3/4 of a rack, which I think that'll hold just fine. Put it right in the middle, without cutting it up. And you have a little space on the front, on the back, and on the sides of the air fryer for air to circulate. You can get that cook time down to, well, I would say probably 2 hours and still have very similar results. The fact that we took up so much space and you didn't get that really good air circulation caused the meat to, take a little bit longer to get to temperature. But, I'm not complaining. It's absolutely delicious. I'm gonna see if we could pull this bone out right here. Oh, there we go. Oh, nice. There he is. Beautiful. And we just eat it like this. Wow. Too bad the McRib ain't made with this, That'd be awesome. All right, folks, there you have it. St. Louis style ribs in the Typhur Dome 2 air fryer. Came out absolutely beautiful. I feel like I'm taking my gloves off a little prematurely because I'm about to get down on this. Absolutely delicious. If you check the description box below, I'll put the recipe that I used for the marinade and the recipe that I used for the dry rub. If you want to do both or one or not do any, it's up to you. I also put the process of how we use the air fryer, the temperature, and the time settings. One thing that I found particularly helpful was using the wireless Typhur probes in conjunction with the air fryer. Kind of sync them up together, and the probes communicate with the air fryer to kind of let it know when it's ready. And I found that incredibly helpful. The alternative is you just do a timed cook. But for something like this, it was kind of up in the air. And so using those probes, it was kind of like a set it and forget it type of thing. I got a notice on my phone letting me know it was ready, at which point we finished up the final stage with the barbecue sauce and took the probes out. So for me, that was super helpful. The end result was just absolutely magical. Now we did ribs today, a full rack, which is one of the other things that I like about it, the size of the tray. It is big rather than deep. So we were able to get quite a bit of food in there. A lot of really interesting things that you can cook in the air fryer. And honestly, I can't wait to give it a go. I mean, we killed it with the ribs. Absolutely delicious. Just one last little peek here. Sans gloves. Look at that. Beautiful bark on there. Very, very tender. Let's just kind of rip this in half right here. Oh, look at that. My mouth's watering. Just one more bite. I'm going to eat this entire rack here in a second. That is banging. If you want any information on the Typhur Dome 2 air fryer, I'll put a link in the description box below where you can get more information. Check it out. They're running a huge sale right now. Plus, if you use the discount code that Typhur was kind enough to offer, you get an additional percentage off your order. I'll put that discount code in the description box below as well. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed today's recipe, smash that thumbs up button. Before you go, just one quick question. Are you new to this channel? Is this the first video that you've seen from me? Because if it is, and you liked today's episode, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. In about 3 weeks, possibly 4, depends on when we upload this video, but we have got a series beginning October the 1st called Celebrate Sausage. Every day in the month of October, we upload a brand new sausage making tutorial. It is a meat sausage fest. If you're into that kind of stuff, you're going to absolutely love it. We've got some great giveaways, some incredible guests, and I don't want you to miss a single episode. All right, that's all I got for you today, folks. Thanks a lot for being here. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. So the dilemma right now is, do I eat a rib or do I take a bite out of the slab? I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go for the slab. Here we go. Oh, I'm literally going to go get some sandwich bread, slap that right into it, some pickles, couple onions. We'll call it a day. See you later.